Welcome back, everyone, to today's Explainer. I am so thrilled to guide you through this because, honestly, today is shaping up to be an absolutely massive day in both the digital and physical worlds. It's July 22nd, 2026, and today's news is this perfect microcosm of rapid, interconnected tech innovation. We're looking at a landscape where breakthroughs aren't just happening in isolated silos anymore. They are literally colliding, from artificial intelligence and space exploration all the way over to cryptocurrency and consumer gaming. Everything is accelerating and it's happening all at once.
All right, so let's dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. We're hitting AI in the Silicon Surge, Bitcoin meeting institutional capital, Starship's heavy lift milestone, some digital resilience and gaming updates, and finally, the great tech convergence. We're going to start micro with these specific product drops and then build all of that up to a massive macroeconomic revelation that explains exactly why all these different sectors are suddenly moving in perfect sync. Section 1, AI and the Silicon Surge. Let's kick things off with the foundational layer of our tech morning, computing efficiency and hardware demand.
So Google just dropped their newest AI model, Gemini 3.6. And they are taking a super strategic approach here. Rather than giving us one giant one-size-fits-all model, they've released 3 distinct versions. The standard Flash model is your go-to for balancing speed and accuracy. Then you've got Flash Lite, which is stripped way down for stuff needing instant, zero-latency responses. Think customer service chatbots. But the really wild one, Flash Cyber. This tier is completely locked down, restricted purely to government and security agencies for advanced threat analysis. The general public literally can't access it. It really shows Google understands that different industries now need fundamentally different tools.
And the economics of this are absolutely fascinating. Google is pushing a 20% price drop compared to their last model, combined with a 17% reduction in output tokens. Basically, the AI uses fewer words to say the exact same thing without losing any clarity. For a medium-sized SaaS startup doing millions of API calls, that translates to saving 15 to 20 grand a month. But you know what's conspicuously missing today? Google's flagship Gemini 3.5 Pro model. It's still stuck in the testing phase. They're deliberately holding it back to refine its reasoning and make sure it can actually go toe-to-toe with heavyweights like GPT-4 and Claude.
Of course, all that AI software needs serious physical hardware to run. Just look at this number, $15 billion. That is the massive amount of market cap that semiconductor giant Micron added in a single day after their stock jumped 12%. They make the high-speed memory that AI servers desperately need. And this surge proves that the AI chip market, which is projected to balloon from $45 billion to over $100 billion by 2028, is a real sustainable infrastructure build-out. It's definitely not a temporary fad. Moving on to Section 2, Bitcoin meets institutional capital. We are shifting from computing power over to frontier markets to look at how traditional money is flowing into crypto.
And wow, this chart brilliantly illustrates how that digital frontier is being aggressively reshaped right now. Bitcoin is fiercely leading a $2.3 trillion crypto market recovery. It's commanding a massive 54.3% market dominance and just hit a 5-week high of $66,300.
So what's actually driving this surge? Well, we can break it down into 3 distinct catalysts. First off, we're seeing a staggering $727 million in weekly ETF inflows. These ETFs have completely changed the game, shifting the main investor profile away from retail enthusiasts and over to major pension funds and huge asset managers. Second, there's growing market optimism around the potential passage of the U.S. Crypto Clarity Act, which would finally establish a clear legal framework. And third, analysts are tracking some major capital rotation, with investors taking their massive profits from AI tech stocks and just parking them right into cryptocurrency.
All right, Section 3, Starship's heavy lift milestone. Let's take this narrative from digital assets all the way up into physical space exploration. The number 33 here represents an absolutely monumental engineering challenge. That is the number of Raptor engines on the super heavy booster of SpaceX's Starship. To put that into perspective, the super reliable Falcon 9 uses just 9 engines, and the historic Saturn V used only 5. Coordinating 33 engines at the exact same time is mind-bogglingly complex. In fact, their previous Flight 13 attempt was actually aborted at the very last second because 4 of those engines failed to ignite. Now, while that obviously delayed the launch, it proved that SpaceX's incredibly strict autonomous safety tolerances are working exactly as designed. So they are ready to try Flight 13 again. And the payload is what's really crucial here. They're flying 20 of the brand new Starlink V3 satellites. These things are absolute monsters compared to the V2s. They weighed 2,000 kilograms each, pack 10 times the capacity, hit speeds up to 2 gigabits per second, and boast latency under 10 milliseconds. They are so incredibly massive that literally only Starship is big enough to deploy them.
SpaceX is definitely playing the long game here. Right now, Starship's success rate is hovering around 67% over its past flights. But their rapid iteration strategy prioritizes gathering engineering data over having a perfect early track record. Over the next 25 flights, Elon Musk wants to push that 67% reliability all the way up to the Falcon 9's incredible 99.3% standard. Every single flight, whether it's successful or gets aborted, buys them the data they need to get there.
Section 4, Digital Resilience and Gaming. Let's bring this explainer back down to earth and look straight at the consumer level. Microsoft just rolled out what's basically a life-saving digital time machine for Windows 11 called Point-in-Time Restore. Now, this isn't like those old traditional system restores that only fix system files. This feature actually captures a perfect, encrypted snapshot of your entire computing environment, personal files, desktop layout, the whole shebang. And because it uses intelligent delta compression, meaning it only saves the bits of data that actually changed rather than copying everything, it only eats up about 20% of your disk space. If a bad update crashes your PC or ransomware encrypts your files, you just rewind the clock to right before the incident happened.
Now, in that exact same update, Microsoft also improved the Copilot Plus PC recall feature, which lets you search up to 3 months of your past on-screen activity. As you might guess, this has sparked a pretty significant debate. Microsoft defends the feature by emphasizing that all data is strictly locally encrypted by default. But on the flip side, privacy advocates are raising severe fears regarding the potential for government surveillance or malicious actors getting their hands on such a comprehensive record of a user's activity. It is a classic tension between amazing utility and data privacy. Meanwhile, over in the entertainment sector, gaming nostalgia is seriously driving the market. Tomorrow is the early access return of the 2001 absolute classic, Halo Campaign Evolved. It's rocking 4K graphics at 120 frames per second and updated mechanics, though, fair warning, it currently lacks a multiplayer mode. The tricky part here is the business side. It's launching on the exact same day as the highly anticipated Splatoon Raiders. Industry analysts are predicting this simultaneous drop might cannibalize about 15 to 20% of first-week sales for both titles, simply because gamers are forced to divide their time and their wallets. And that brings us to Section 5, the Great Tech Convergence. Let's see how this all builds into our final, most important point by executing a micro to macro pivot here. So, what does this all mean? The absolutely crucial point is this highly unusual correlation coefficient of 0.75. Historically, right, tech stocks and cryptocurrency move inversely. When one goes up, capital rotates out of the other. But today, they are moving in total sync. A 0.75 correlation means these markets are being driven by unified macroeconomic forces, not just traders shuffling money back and forth. When we connect the dots, it becomes pretty clear what those macro forces actually are. First, the US is reporting cooling inflation, which has pretty much squashed recession fears. That's leading to heavily anticipated Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. So you've got cheaper borrowing combined with consistent cross-sector innovations, like those new Gemini AI models and Micron's crazy earnings, and it's creating this massive rising tide environment. Both growth-oriented hardware stocks and speculative crypto assets are surging at the exact same time, because the underlying economic foundation itself is getting stronger. But hey, this momentum is going to be tested immediately. Just look at this rapid-fire economic calendar for next week. On the 25th, Tesla earnings are going to set the tone for EV sentiment. Then, on the 26th, a Senate crypto session tests that massive ETF momentum we talked about. Followed immediately on the 27th by Microsoft and Alphabet results, proving out these AI revenue models. Then we get the actual Fed rate announcement on the 28th, and the whole week wraps up with the US jobs report on the 29th. If all these catalysts align positively, this unified market surge is going to accelerate dramatically. So what does this actually mean for you, the focused learner? Well, it means the democratization of global tech opportunities is very, very real. With AI language tools getting cheaper and way more powerful and institutional markets unifying, your geographic location matters less than it ever has before. A freelancer, literally anywhere in the world, can use a tool like Gemini to write code or provide customer service and earn dollar income on platforms like Upwork. What really matters now are your adaptable skills, not just where you happen to live. Which brings us to one final thought for today.
The barriers to entry have never been lower. But man, the competition has never been fiercer. We really have to remember that while machines can process the information and write the code, humans are the ones providing the empathy, the ethical judgment, and ultimately humans create meaning. So I'll leave you with this to provoke your thinking. As these technologies converge faster than ever, how will you adapt your skills to participate in this unified global digital economy? Keep learning, keep adapting, and I will see you in the next explainer.